So welcome to the daily English news program on Azərbaycan Televiziya with the most important events of the day. I am your host, Ilham Məmmədov. President Ilham received a delegation led by Vice President of the Republic of Cuba, Salvador Antonio Valdez Mesa. President Ilham Aliyev recalled the participation of the President of Cuba in the summit of the non-aligned movement in Baku in 2019 and expresses gratitude to the Cuban side for its support of Azerbaijan's chairmanship of the non-aligned movement. The head of state emphasized that he would continue his efforts to further develop the non-aligned movement, noting that Azerbaijan was working towards this movement playing an important role in international relations. President Ilham Aliyev said there was a need for broad discussions about the post-COVID period in the world. President Ilham Aliyev also stressed that Azerbaijan's chairmanship of the non-aligned movement would come to an end this year, noting Azerbaijan was leaving behind a good legacy as chair after 4 years. In this regard, the head of state noted the institutionalization of the organization, the creation of its parliament and youth network, as well as other initiatives. Saying that there were great prospects for the development of cooperation, President Ilham Aliyev said that the field of healthcare was of particular importance, adding that there were ample opportunities for the development of relations in such fields as tourism, education, agriculture, culture, and pharmaceuticals. Pointing to the traditional friendly relations between the two countries and close cooperation in international organizations, including the non-aligned movement, the head of state said that the activity of Cuban doctors and medical workers in Azerbaijan during the pandemic was highly appreciated. President Ilham Aliyev underlined that this factor had made a substantial contribution to the development of bilateral relations. President Ilham Aliyev also expressed hope that the visit of the Cuban vice president would give an additional impetus to the expansion of bilateral relations and voiced his confidence that the visit to Azerbaijan would produce a good impression. Expressing his gratitude for the invitation to participate in the summit of the contact group of the non-aligned movement on the fight against COVID-19, Salvador Antonio Valdez Mesa conveyed the greetings of President of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez, to the President of Azerbaijan. President Ilham Aliyev expresses gratitude for the greetings, asked the Vice President to convey his greetings to the President of Cuba, and said that he remembered his meeting with President of Cuba with pleasure. Salvador Antonio Valdez Mesa noted that national leader of the Azerbaijani people, Heydar Aliyev, and Fidel Castro had played an important role in the development of the traditional friendly relations. He underscored that this year marked the 100th anniversary of the great leader's birth. Salvador Antonio Valdez Mesa said the Cuban side had serious political will to further develop relations between the two countries. The Vice President said that Azerbaijan had continued its active and successful chairmanship of the non-aligned movement, although it coincided with a difficult period such as the fight against COVID-19. He thankfully emphasized that Azerbaijan had done great work to develop the non-aligned movement and had not spared its support for the member states of the organization. The Vice President of Cuba said there were close relations between the two countries within international organizations and noted that Cuba, as chair of G77, was interested in deepening cooperation and developing relations between the two institutions, noting that it was working for the deepening of the South-South cooperation. Salvador Antonio Valdez Mesa emphasized that his country had been in blockade for years, but the Cuban people's determination to fight for freedom had not run out. He also thanked Azerbaijan for its support of the resolutions tabled in the UN General Assembly in relation to Cuba. The head of state noted that the determination of the people of Azerbaijan and Cuba to fight for freedom had similar aspects, adding that the Azerbaijani people had never come to terms with occupation and aggression and liberated their lands from the occupation that lasted for nearly 30 years. President Ilham Aliyev said that the Cuban people had proved to the world that they were capable of enduring all the hardships in the struggle for freedom, noting that this determination had played an important part in Azerbaijan's victory, as is the case with the Cuban people. This similarity brings the two peoples closer to each other even more. In accordance with the combat training plan of the current year, practical shooting exercises from grenade launchers and sniper rifles were carried out. Before the shooting, safety rules were delivered to the military personnel, and the servicemen practiced the regulations on taking the firing positions and bringing the weapon into the state of combat readiness. Then the military personnel of various categories successfully accomplished the task of detecting and destroying imaginary enemy targets. The main purpose of conducting exercises is to improve the combat readiness of the unit by improving the practical capabilities and firing skills of the servicemen. Azerbaijan is ready for trilateral meeting while Armenia has not given its final consent. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said at the joint press conference with his Azerbaijani counterpart, Ceyhun Bayramov. He noted that although a meeting was repeatedly offered to the foreign ministers of Azerbaijan and Armenia, the official Yerevan refused to participate. Azerbaijani Foreign Minister Ceyhun Bayramov dwelled on Russian-Azerbaijani relations. Ceyhun Bayramov expressed his views on Armenia's avoidance of the peace agreement, and Sergei Lavrov touched on the Lachin corridor.
Мы обсуждали, она была сформирована по инициативе президента о вещании по взаимодействию.
Eco-activists and NGO representatives continue their rally on the Lachin-Khankendi road against the illegal exploitation of mineral deposits in Karabakh. Today is the 79th day of the rally. The road is open for humanitarian purposes.
Azərbaycan milləti qoruyacaq sərvəti.
A delegation of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, led by the head of the Ukraine-Azerbaijan Interparliamentary Friendship Group, Vladimir Krydenko, visited the grave of the nationwide leader Heydar Aliyev in the Alley of Honor. Then the memory of the heroic sons and daughters of the motherland who died for the independence and territorial integrity of Azerbaijan was commemorated in the Alley of Martyrs. A state register of samples of intangible cultural heritage aimed at collecting samples of cultural heritage, their protection and ensuring their use in accordance with the law is being created.
The state register will provide documentation, safety and accessibility of information to users about samples of intangible cultural heritage. With the creation of the register, the rules for the use of samples of intangible cultural heritage are also determined. According to the document, there should be absolute anonymity of samples of oral folk art, the creation, preservation and transmission from generation to generation of samples of intangible cultural heritage in oral, informal and official form. Individuals who broke the law will be held accountable. These issues were discussed at the joint hearings of the Parliamentary Committee on Cultural, the Minister of Culture and Intellectual Property Agency. The financing issue will be formed expense of deductions from the state budget, income from activities in the field of intangible cultural heritage and other sources not prohibited by law.
You can get in touch with us by contacting AzTV Haber's hotline number 051-511-1956, through which you can report events you come across of, as well as share your suggestions and remarks. You can also contact us via our WhatsApp and Telegram accounts. That was all for the day. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.